Timmy gets dropped off at university. He spent his last year of high school daydreaming about all the parties he was gonna go to, all the friends he was gonna make, all the girls he was gonna talk to, but none of that happens. Timmy spends all 4 years inside playing video games, lonely, away from everybody else, wishing he was talking to girls, meeting friends, and having a fun experience. Alexander. Alexander is the life of the party, the captain of the sports team. Other guys want to be him, and girls can't resist him. Alexander doesn't go to parties. Parties go to him.
He is the most interesting man in the world.
So how can we have the best college experience possible, be more like Alexander, less like Timmy? That's what we're going to cover in this video. So my first semester of college was very lonely. I got to school and I had just recently gone through a breakup a few months prior, so I was recovering from that a bit. The girl I dated moved away. I was away from all of my high school friends for the first time. And I remember very vividly this one Saturday night where I was sitting in my room, just kind of hanging out by myself, not doing anything. And I heard a bunch of people, running around and having a good time and going to parties and drinking. And I just felt really lonely because I didn't really have people to go and experience that with. And for a while, like the whole few next months, I really struggled to put myself out there. But then luckily, I met some guys through my football team who were good friends. I ended up going and joining a fraternity and had a great time with that, met a lot of new people, new girls. And my next 3.5 years of college was an absolute blast. I spent the rest of this time going to a lot of parties, talking to girls, drinking a lot of booze, doing a little bit of school. I actually did pretty well in school. I got good grades. But I had fun too. So in this video, we're gonna be going over the 7 keys to building a high-value dating life in university. Because a harsh truth that a lot of guys learn way too late is that school can be either some very memorable, great years of your life, or they can be some of the most lonely and forgetful years of your life. And most guys, they don't do what we're going to talk about in this video. In fact, they do the complete opposite. So if you can just follow these steps and take it very seriously and follow this, you will separate yourself from the crowd and have a great experience in college. And also, I took some time to really make sure I structured this all in a specific way. So make sure you watch the whole video in order. Now, if you're busy and you're limited on time, you can start it now and save it later and then come back and finish it. But just make sure you watch it from chapter 1 all the way through chapter 4 in order, because it's all going to make way more sense that way than if you just skip around sections and don't watch it in order. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off this chapter with a phrase that we say all the time on this channel, and that is that you attract the type of person that you are. The main thing that is going to set yourself back from dating in college is simply not being the guy who attracts women into his life, who succeeds. Because so many guys focus on chasing girls. They focus on going out and talking to girls and having game and doing all this stuff, when instead they could just focus on becoming the guy who naturally attracts women. And the number one thing you can do to attract more women is just become your best self. Because the truth is, what we're going to talk about later with, the specific tactics and the ways to talk to girls and all these things you can do, they are important and they absolutely will enhance your experience, but the foundation of it is you. It's the person that you are. If you're not confident, you're not going to be able to walk up to girls and go talk to them at parties. If you're not the guy who women want to be with, nothing else really matters. So the first thing you gotta focus on becoming with your best self is the mental side of things. So many guys have a very negative view with dating. They think, I can't talk to girls because I'm short. Oh, I can't talk to girls because dating is just so hard nowadays and women don't want to be with a guy like me. But bro, I just want you to know, in college, I was on a football team, I was in a fraternity, so I was around a lot of, guys who were talking to girls. And whatever excuse you can think of, whether it's you're short or whatever it is you're going to talk about, I know a guy who succeeded with it. In fact, I know a lot of guys in college who weren't the greatest looking dudes, but they still were successful with women because they had the mindset, they had the confidence. So that's the very foundation of things. If you don't think you can do something, you can't do it. Like, how do you think it's going to reflect in your actions when you walk into a party and you say to yourself, oh yeah, bro, she wouldn't be into a guy like me. There's no way she'd like me back. Are you going to go get her? No. But somewhere out there, there's a guy who has every single excuse that you have, but he has the mindset and he overcomes it. He goes and talks to her. He takes her on a date. He makes her his girlfriend while you're making excuses. So you got to realize the first thing you got to fix is the mindset. And it's about having the high value abundance mindset, not the scarcity simp mindset, but the mindset of a guy who sees himself as a catch, who knows his worth, who instead of assuming girls don't like him, he assumes girls do like him. So make sure you get that right first. And one of the biggest ways you can actually improve your mindset is by, number 2, becoming physically your best self. Think about it this way. How much easier is dating gonna be when you walk into a party, you have a sick physique, you're looking good, you're dressed well, compared to the guy who doesn't do those things? Because it's all about standing out. And what you gotta realize is that, sure, while maybe there are some things about your physical attractiveness you can't control, like, fair enough, you can't control how tall you are. If you're balding, you can't control that. If, there's some things about your facial appearance that you can't control, but there also is a lot that you can control. You can control how well you take care of yourself. You can control how nice you dress, your style. You can control how often you go to the gym. I know a lot of guys who, they maybe weren't like the greatest looking dudes, but they were in good shape. They had good style. They were charismatic and they were successful. So at the end of the day, you got to focus on controlling the things you can control and maximizing them. I do not want to hear any excuses for why you're not succeeding with dating if you're not even going to the gym. If you don't take care of your hygiene, you don't shave, you don't do all these necessary things. Because at the end of the day, your physical appearance says a lot about how you take care of yourself. And looks aren't the most important thing in the world, but they are important to a degree. And if you take care of your looks, if you focus on the things you can control, it is for sure going to give you more opportunities. So going into the rest of this video, you have a choice to make. Are you going to be the guy who goes throughout all 4 years making excuses, saying he's not succeeding because of society, because of women, because of his looks? Or are you going to be the guy who takes personal accountability, who controls the things he can control and improves himself? And the guys who take the first option, who reject themselves, they never have success. But the guys who take the second option, who focus on themselves, always see success. So what are you going to do? The choice is yours. And if you want to learn everything I learned about becoming your best self, building the aesthetic body, becoming more confident, attracting girls, you can go check out my 1% Man System, which is linked in the description. Now, in there, chapter number 2, so build your social life, if this sounds like something that would help you out. If you just recently started school, you're probably not really going with many friends. Yeah, there might be a couple kids from your high school who are going, or a couple kids you have mutual friends with, but for the most part, you're starting with a completely blank slate. And that can be either a good thing or a bad thing. When I first moved off to college, for me, it was a turning point, because in high school, I was kind of known as this like simp, loser, beta male guy. But when I got to college, I decided that I'm going to take this opportunity to start fresh and make the most out of it and become the new guy. Because you probably know, like, when you're in high school and you develop a certain reputation, that reputation is going to stick with you forever. And there's not really anything you can do to change it. Yeah, you can improve yourself, but people are always going to keep that same reputation for yourself. But when you go off to college, you have an opportunity to completely rewrite this, to become a different version of yourself. You can be whoever you want to be now. That's what I loved about it. So this can be a blessing, but it can also be a curse. So you have to know how to go about it the right way. So that's what we're going to talk about in this chapter. Key number 2, join a social club. So we got to know as young men that now that you've moved away from your high school friends, it's going to be hard to make friends. And the truth is, like, yeah, we want to say that we're confident with approaching people and talking to people and eventually get to that point. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be pretty hard to make friends if you're just walking up to random dudes in the gym or walking around school or kids in your class, because there's just a lot of barriers to that. It's a bit awkward. Maybe that guy doesn't really want to be friends with you, or you're uncertain about things. So, what we have to do to fast track this process of making good friends is you got to go to an area where people are already going to want to hang out with you, where people have similar interests. So, the quickest way you can do that is by joining a social club. Now, what do I mean by a social club? Well, a club is a group of people who have similar beliefs, who have similar hobbies. You're going to hang out with people who already like the same things that you like. Like, that's going to make it so much easier. So the first example of this could be a sports team. I played football in college, so that allowed me to meet a lot of guys who had similar interests, right? Going to the gym, eating clean, self-improvement, going out and partying every now and then. So for me, that made it so much easier to make friends because I already had a group of people who had similar hobbies. Then on top of that, playing football, I went and I joined a fraternity. So I was around guys who wanted to go out and party, go out and have fun, guys who were going to push me to kind of get out of my comfort zone a bit and go meet new people. Now, maybe you don't have the opportunity to go and play a sport, or you don't really want to join a fraternity. That's not really for you. There's a lot of other options that you could do. You could look it up. There's probably a club for just about anything that you want to do in school. Maybe you like reading. You could go join a reading club. Maybe you're into politics. You could go join a political club. There is a club for literally everything that you want to do at your school. You just have to go and join it. Do a little research. Go talk to some people. And what you have to realize is that people are not going to come to you for the most part. You're going to have to be the initiator, because a lot of people just like you are nervous to put themselves out there. They don't want to get rejected. They don't want to, seem awkward. So if you can become the one who initiates things, you can separate yourself. You can't expect friends to just randomly show up to your doorstep one day and just walk into your life. No, you have to put yourself out there. You have to go and talk to people. You have to go and meet people. So you have to take it upon yourself to go and make friends, which actually leads me very well into the next key. Key number 3, organize events. So my freshman year of college, I had a huge party at my house. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. But that really helped me with kind of building my social status and becoming more popular. Basically, my parents were out of town one weekend, and I decided that I was going to go back to my hometown, which is only about 30 minutes away from my college, and host a huge party. Like 50 people, 60 people, maybe even more than that ended up showing up, and we all had a good time, and it was hell to clean up the next day. Like, I had to spend literally 8 hours cleaning stuff, had to pay a ton of money to get the house deep clean. But this was one of the greatest things that I did in college, because for the next 3 years, every single time I'd go out to a party or I'd see people, people would always remember me for that. They'd always say, dude, I remember that one party that you threw. Like, that was so sick. Or even the following weeks after that party, I'd go out to other parties and people would say, dude, that was so much fun. Like, thank you so much for having that. So having that event really separated me and made people, recognize me and get to know me a bit. And also on top of that, even after that party, I'd organize a lot of other events. Maybe we'd be getting ready to go out and party, so I'd invite a bunch of people over to our frat house and we'd all drink together. Or I'd invite them to, come out and walk with me to the party, or we'd all go together. Because when you are the organizer of events, you kind of position yourself as the leader, and people really respect that. People want to be with somebody who initiates things, who has the confidence to be the one to put themselves out there and start doing stuff. And also on top of that, not only will you kind of become like the center of the party, the guy that everyone respects, but also you're just going to get invited to more stuff, right? If you're starting stuff, if you're inviting people to hang out, you're doing fun stuff, people are going to want to hang out with you. People are going to want to invite you to things. So it's kind of this thing where you have to give first, and then people will invite you back. They'll want to hang out with you, but you have to lead as somebody who's organizing things, who's having fun, who's having a good time. So make sure that whenever you get the opportunity to, maybe you invite some of the boys to go and hang out together, go out and get some drinks, to go and go to a party together. Now, just for clarity, this is not me saying to throw a huge rager at your house and piss off your parents, okay? That was a mistake by me. So don't necessarily follow that part, but yeah, sorry, mom. But yeah, be the organizer of events, be the leader. Now, key number 4, maintain a good reputation. So we just talked about how I kind of created a good reputation for me by having a party and organizing stuff. But before this, I actually fucked things up really bad, and we're going to talk a bit about how I did that. So there was this one night. It was on my birthday, and I'd had like 15 drinks throughout the day. Me and my friends were hanging out the whole day. It was a Saturday, so we were drinking together, and it was my birthday, so obviously, I was going to drink and have a good time. But it got to the point where, like, I was so drunk that I couldn't even control my actions. So we ended up going to this party, and I eventually ended up blacking out, and, like, I threw up all over the carpet floor and just created a huge mess, and it was just a really bad look for my image. Now, yeah, some people said, oh yeah, dude, that was so funny, that that was hilarious. But at the end of the day, like, it just wasn't a good look. Girls definitely saw that and were like, oh, like, that guy clearly can't control himself, and that's just not a good look. You want to be in control of your reputation. And that was also part of the reason why I ended up throwing the party, because the party I threw actually came a few weeks after this, which did help rebuild my reputation a bit and help people respect me a lot more. But right before that, I just, that whole first year was kind of known as a guy who would always get blackout drunk and do stupid shit and not be very respectable. So that's where I would really caution you is, yes, go out and have fun. Go out and have a good time, but also be respectful. Control how much you drink. Know what you're doing, and don't get blackout drunk, because when you get blackout drunk, you don't know what you're going to do. You're going to make shitty decisions, and you're not going to be respected. And another way that you can certainly ruin your reputation, and you have to make sure that you don't do this, because if you do, you're completely cooked, is by becoming known as a guy who, acts weird around girls. And you probably know what I'm talking about when I say that, like guys who are a little maybe too pushy, do things they shouldn't do, say things they shouldn't say, and you kind of get known as a creep. There were a few guys at my college who actually got rejected from my fraternity because of this, because they had the reputation of, just being weird with girls and stuff. So, yes, going out and talking to girls at parties, going and having fun can absolutely be totally fine, and, there's nothing inherently wrong with doing that. But also, you can't be a dumbass. You can't be doing weird shit. You can't be like there was this one guy who was known for like following girls around after parties and just being weird, being pushy, asking them to, come home with him when they clearly, weren't in the right headspace to. Because something that we got to realize as men is that we're, protectors. So when you see a girl who's getting harassed by a guy, first of all, never be that guy, right? Obviously. But also, when you see a girl who's getting harassed by a guy, right, be willing to step up. Be willing to, step in between them and, make sure that she gets home safe and do all those things. And don't be the guy who's acting weird around girls. Because, bro, these guys who developed that reputation, and obviously, like, I'm not going to dox them, I'm not going to name them, but these guys who developed this reputation, like, got no play from girls whatsoever. Because when you develop the reputation of a guy who's weird around girls, they're all going to talk about it. They're all going to know. And not only are girls going to know, but also all the guys are going to know that, and they're not going to respect you as well. So you do not want to be that guy. Go have fun. Go talk to girls. Don't be afraid to approach them. But also, don't be a fucking weirdo. If a girl clearly doesn't want you, just move on. Go talk to somebody who wants you. When a girl is so obviously drunk that she doesn't know what she's doing, don't try and take her home. Like, that should be fairly obvious, but I have to state it in the video. Because if you build a good reputation, it will 100% serve you. So now we're going to jump into chapter 3, which is navigating the dating scene. You're completely cooked. There are a few different ways you can talk to girls, and the first one, key number 5, is talking to girls at parties. So first of all, we're going to cover a quick kind of like hack phenomenon that not a lot of guys know, but can absolutely help you have a bit of success. And some people will say this is a bit manipulative, but I don't really care. It's absolutely going to help more girls be attracted to you. So you've probably seen or experienced it before where you're single, and you don't really get much attention from girls. No girls really want to be with you. But then all of a sudden, like, you get a girlfriend, and now, like, all girls are, like, texting you, wanting to be with you, hang out with you. And it's really weird. You're like, why the fuck does that happen? But you don't have to be in a relation. Like, obviously, if you're in a relationship, don't talk to other girls. That's not what I'm saying. But you don't have to be in a relationship to experience this. One of the greatest things you can do in college, if you want to be more attractive to women, is make friends with girls. When you walk into a party and you're surrounded by other girls, you're hanging out with other girls are going to see that and they're going to say, okay, like, clearly this guy has something going on that's attractive. Clearly there's something about him that should make me want to pursue him. Because when you show that, you can be friends with other girls, that other girls trust you, it's going to make other girls more likely want to be with you. So, and also don't get this confused. I'm not saying to friend zone yourself or, don't try to be romantically with a girl and just make her your friend instead. But for example, like, there were some girls my freshman year who lived in my dorm that me and one of my other friends would hang out with all the time. And us four, like, none of us, we weren't dating or anything. We weren't like anything more than friends, but we'd go to parties together and sometimes they would bring their other friends, and being around them, like, honestly really did help a lot. Then once you're at the party or you're at social events, there is a right and a wrong way to go about it. So where most guys fuck this up and get super weird and nervous is they'll go out and they'll have the mindset that, oh yeah, boys, we're gonna go approach girls. We're gonna go talk to girls tonight. That is not the right way to go about it. How do you think it's gonna affect your confidence when your main mission is to go and talk to girls, right? You're like that one guy who's just in the party, like constantly like eyes going around, like on the prowl. That's just really fucking weird. Like, why is your main focus to go and talk to girls? Like, why is that the main thing you're obsessing over? Instead of doing that, just focus on going out and having fun, right? You're not focused on talking to girls. You're not focused on chasing women. You're just focused on hanging out with your friends, going out, getting some drinks, having a good time, chatting with the boys, and then eventually, like, you'll see a girl that you want to go talk to. Maybe you'll make eye contact with her. You guys will bump into each other, and you'll naturally get some opportunities. But I promise you, the guys who have success are never, ever the guys who obsess over it. The guys who obsess over it always come off in this needy and unattractive way. Whereas the guys who just focus on themselves, having a good time, and dating is kind of like a byproduct of their life, not their whole life, those guys always have so much more success. So it's kind of this weird thing where it's like, yes, you have to put yourself out there. You have to go talk to girls. You have to take the effort. But the guys who actually care about it less and focus on it less have much more success than the guys who obsess over it. So when approaching girls, yes, go out and do it. Go out to parties. Go have a fun time. That's a good opportunity to go out and meet people. But at the end of the day, talking to girls is not the focus. It's just a byproduct of having a good time and being the guy who's having fun, who's attractive, who girls see and they're like, wow, like that guy looks confident. He's having a good time. That's going to make you much more approachable. Now, key number 6, the second way to date girls in college, mastering dating apps. Now, I get what you're saying. Oh, I don't want to use dating apps. Oh, dating apps are degenerate. Oh, they're not for me. Which, fair enough. Like, if you don't want to use them, by all means, you have the freedom to do whatever you want. But I just want you to know that if you're not using dating apps, you are significantly limiting yourself. Look, the truth is, like, yes, go talk to girls in person. Talk to that girl in your class. Go approach girls at parties. Talking to girls in person is great, and you still should do that. But let's be honest here. Talking to girls in person is a lot harder than just doing it on dating apps. A lot of guys are just more comfortable meeting online. And same with girls. A lot of girls are more open to being approached online than in person. So, in my opinion, if you want to have success, you shouldn't neglect using dating apps. Because the truth is, there are going to be a bunch of girls at your school on these apps. Like, think about, you're never ever going to be surrounded in your entire life by this many women at the same time. So it's a great opportunity to go and meet people. And you have to take every single chance, every single opportunity that you can get. Now, how do you go about using dating apps? Well, there's a few keys you can understand to setting up a successful profile. First of all, you got to know what type of pictures to use. I don't know if you've ever seen a girl like scrolling on Tinder before, but this is how it looks. They'll see one guy, oh, he's not very attractive. Oh, swipe left. Oh, this guy, he's, looks kind of unattractive. Swipe left. Oh, this guy is, he's kind of attractive. Looks like he could be cool. He's really cute. Swipe left. Oh, wow, that's really caught my attention. Okay, swipe right. So this is a bit of a controversial tip, but if you want to stand out on dating apps, you have to do something to make yourself stand out. You have to have something that's scroll stopping, that's thumb stopping. And the easiest way to do that is your first picture. You got to have a first picture that snatches people's attention. And the easiest way to do that is a shirtless picture where you're looking good, maybe walking around the beach, outside. Now, if you don't have a good physique, maybe don't do this, but also focus on building the physique, because that absolutely will help you a lot on dating apps and get more matches. Because, bro, I did a lot of testing with this. I basically majored in optimizing dating apps. So I know what I'm talking about with this, and I tried a lot of different things. A shirtless picture absolutely gets you more matches and gets you more likes. But there are other ways you can go about creating a thumb stopping effect. Maybe it's just a really good picture of you walking around on the beach, cool sunset in the background, but you gotta have something that separates you. Don't do some, basic ass selfie or, some picture with bad lighting. Have something that is thumb stopping. And if you don't have the physique, you don't have the body, right? Use something else, get creative with it. And then also, don't spend all day on dating apps, right? Maybe spend 20 minutes a day using them. Me personally, I actually just paid for the Tinder Gold. Some guys might not want to do that or think that's weird to pay for it, but me personally, I just wanted to see the girls who liked me and then go and like them back. It made it a lot easier that way. I just log on for like 5 minutes every day, see the girls who already liked me and like them back. That way you're not spending like 30 minutes a day scrolling and liking girls on Tinder. So that could be something you could do, buy the Tinder Gold, but you don't have to do that. If you just spend, 10, 15 minutes a day swiping, you'll get some success, but also don't obsess over it. I know some guys who swiped on Tinder for like an hour a day in college. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, all right,
yes,
use
now
it.
chapter 4. We're going to talk about some
more than
common
20 minutes a day on
traps
the app
to avoid.
These are some pitfalls that some men, even doing the successful things we just talked about, will still fall into sometimes. And some of these can like completely ruin your life. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that. So just make sure that you take notes of these things and you do the things we just talked about, but also you avoid these next few things we're going to talk about. First of all, pregnancies and STDs. Okay. I'm not going to go too in depth into this one because it should be fairly obvious. But you'd be surprised, how many guys completely fuck up their life by getting the wrong girl pregnant or getting an STD that they can't get rid of. And when you're constantly, going out and hooking up with girls and being dumb about it, you're putting yourself at risk. So, I'm not going to be the one to tell you, don't hook up with girls, don't do it at all. Because at the end of the day, like, you can make whatever choice you want. If that's what you want to do, go and do it. If you want to pursue relationships, if that's more your thing, long-term relationships, go and do it. But if you're going to do it, be smart about it, right? Use protection, obviously, okay? If you have sex with a girl and you get her pregnant and you weren't using protection, like, you're just an idiot. Just straight up. Like, you're really fucking stupid if you do that. So make sure you're not doing that. And also, STDs, obviously. Wear protection for that too. Because this stuff, like, I know it may seem like this abstract thing that that would never happen to me. Oh, I'm never going to do that. But sometimes when you're in the moment and, you don't really think about it too much, you might forget about it and you might make a really bad decision. So I want you to set that as a boundary for yourself, okay? Practice safe sex, right? Don't go do stupid shit. Say, no matter what happens, I am never going to put myself in that situation, because the upside is limited, right? Just a little bit of short-term pleasure. Just a little bit of fun. But the downside is tremendous. I mean, if you get a girl pregnant, right? Like, your life is changed forever. If you get an STD or you contract something, that's something that you're going to have to live with forever, and you're going to have to explain to every future partner. So, sure, right? Have fun, but do it in a safe way. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is getting too lost in the sauce, doing too much partying. I think going out and having a social life can be a great thing. But my first 3 years of college, I went way too hard into it. Like, I was getting drunk every single weekend, drinking all the time, not really taking care of myself, and it was really bad for my health and for my mental health as well. And while, yeah, I had some good memories and a lot of good times, I don't regret it necessarily, but I definitely did go too hard into the party life. There were also some times where, I wasn't doing particularly well in school. My first 2 years, I had, I think, a 3.6 GPA at the end of the first 2 years. But then in my third year, I was struggling in school, bad mental health. I actually went through a breakup during this time as well. So everything was going bad, and I got like a 1.8 GPA that semester. And that killed my grades, brought them down to like a 3.0. So, which it still isn't terrible, but it was a lot lower than I had before. And that's what I finished with. So yes, have fun. But the mindset you got to have is work hard, play hard, right? Take care of school, go to the gym, focus on self-improvement, focus on bettering yourself. And then occasionally, right, on the weekends, when you want to go out and have some fun, go and do it. I see so many self-improvement videos where guys will say, oh yeah, partying is so degenerate, partying is so bad for you, it's bad for your life. Which, okay, yeah, if you're getting blackout drunk every weekend, probably not a good idea, but college is also a good opportunity to meet a lot of new people. And I think a lot of guys who get into self-improvement kind of get into this mindset where it's like, oh yeah, I'm never going to drink, I'm never going to have fun because it's bad for my health. And it's like, fair enough, it is bad for your health, but you're going to develop a lot more actually by going out and meeting people, by going out and partying and having a good time. And fair enough, like if actual parties aren't really your thing, you don't have to do that. You can go meet girls other ways and go hang out with people in other ways, but I don't think there's anything wrong with going out and having a good time every now and then. I don't think it's inherently bad. It's just about how you handle it, about being smart about it. So yes, go out and have fun. Go out and do fun things, but take care of school, take care of yourself, go to the gym, and make sure that you're actually setting yourself up and you're not doing dumb shit that's going to set you back. Now, the final trap we're going to talk about is called the self-improvement relationship trap. Now, I think getting in a relationship can be absolutely great. If you find the right girl and she's good for you, it's one of the best decisions that you can make. But also, so many guys fall for what's called the self-improvement relationship trap, and it completely ruins their life. So, what do I mean by the self-improvement relationship trap? So, chances are, there's been a time in your life where you were down bad, or maybe that's even right now, and you weren't getting very much attention from women. Girls were ignoring you, but then you decided, okay, I'm gonna start going to the gym. I'm gonna level up. So you spent 6 months, 8 months working on yourself, building yourself, getting in good shape, becoming more confident, and now, all of a sudden, wow, like girls are into you. You're getting attention from women. But here's where a lot of guys fuck this up. They've been desperate their whole lives. And now that they're getting some attention from a girl, they start going on dates with her. They're having a good time, everything seems good, but then they notice some major red flags. Maybe she has a very promiscuous past, or she has negative views on men, or she's controlling, manipulative. But because they were so desperate, they didn't set a high standard, they settle for her. And then later on, these red flags, they turn back up and they end up ruining their relationship. Maybe she cheats on them, or she just turns cold and distant and they break up. But this whole thing of looking past red flags absolutely backfires on them. So what I want you to take away from that is, yes, get in a relationship, because absolutely, like, you could find a girl who's great and you should get in a relationship with her if you think it's right for you. But you have to make sure that she actually is a high quality girlfriend material girl who you'd want to be with long term. And some easy ways you can decide that is she has good values. You think your parents would like her. She presents herself in, a modest and attractive way. She's not posting thirst traps on Instagram. She's, displaying herself in a positive and wholesome way. Because the guys who get in successful relationships, who do well with dating, always set an extremely high standard and don't settle for anything less. So it's very important. You know what you're looking for. You don't get desperate. You don't get needy for a relationship and settle for the wrong girl. You have to set high standards and date the right girl. So with all that being said, college can absolutely be some of the greatest years of your life. But at the end of the day, you have to take responsibility upon yourself to make the most out of it. You have to be the guy who goes and talks to girls, who goes out to parties, who makes friends, who joins clubs, who does fun things. Because you got to realize no one is coming to save you. You have to take control. You have to be becoming your best self, be leveling up and doing the right things. And bro, if you do that, you're going to have a great experience. You're going to look back, have so much fun. But at the end of the day, it is 100% up to you and the effort that you put in. So if you found this video helped you out and you would like more personalized help from me, the top link in the description would be a link to book a free one-to-one call with me where we can chat, see if you'd be a good fit for my one-to-one coaching. And if you want personalized help, you want to become your best self, you want to know everything that I learned and you're really struggling with this, I would love to help you out. So please go check that out, see if it would help you out. And yeah, but there are also plenty more free videos on this channel. So if you want to find some way to support the channel, to help more guys find videos like these, and you want to say thanks to me, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so more young men can see videos like these and you can also improve your life. So yeah, take care. You're going to have a great 4 years and I'll see you for the next video, bro.